Okay, we have a Kurt Merriken knife here today. This is something new. I don't know if this is the only one. I don't even know if it's the first one, but it is the Super Mini Ultimatum. It's super cool and it is super small. It's too small for my hands. I mean, I'm going to be able to show you in this video, but it's not something I would own because it's just too small for my hands to carry comfortably, use comfortably, and all of that. The mini, I've got to get my hands on like a mini ultimatum and an ultimatum so that I can do a comparison. This doesn't belong to me. This was sent in from a friend of mine who bought this at California Custom Knife Show in October of 2024. Last year. I can say that now because I'm filming this on January 2nd of 2025. How many times are we going to screw that up and say 2024, type 2024, write 2024? What, for like the next 4 months? Is that about it? I don't know. Anyway, it comes with this very cool leather case embossed with Kurt Merriken's kind of logo octopus thing there. It's just kind of cool. Made by B Wise, I guess, is who made that. I don't know. It's super cool. Fits in there really nice. And away you go. So let's talk about the knife. What's interesting about it, it's a multi-opening method knife. Okay, you can see there's a flipper tab here. You can see it's got thumb studs. You can see it's a front flipper. And with that fuller, it presumably is a reverse flick, spidey flick, middle finger flick, whatever you want to call it. But before we get into the opening methods, let's just zoom in and take a look at some of the very cool features and details here. As you can tell, we've got vintage Westinghouse ivory paper micarta for the scales and the backspacer. I love that floating backspacer detail. Just looks super cool. And this, I'm not even a huge micarta guy, but I love the way this looks. Kind of buttery scotch in the middle, and then it kind of fades to off-white on the edges. It really is a beautiful piece of material. Nichols dark tie bolsters, pocket clip, and they're hammered. And you can see some texturing there. You can feel it. It's not like super traction grippy or anything, but you can feel some of that texture. More of that Westinghouse micarta as the pivot collars. And you can see that the blade is something special as well. There's also some of that texturing, hammering on the pocket clip. So let me open this up for you and show you the close-up of the blade. We'll go over the opening methods in a minute. This is, let me look at my notes, Baker Forge Chevron Copper Mai. Very, very cool material. I'm not a huge copper guy, but I think it just plays off really, really well on this knife with that dark matter tie or dark tie. Like, I think this is just a really great combination as we zoom out and we can take in the whole effect of the knife. Now, to give you some dimensions here, it's just under 7 inches overall. Here's a double A battery. And I normally do size comparisons toward the ends, but nobody waits till the end anyway. So here it is with just a double A battery, as well as your standard number 2 pencil and a Sharpie. So this is a small guy. And I'm glad for once in my life, I think I'm going to say, I'm glad that there's multiple opening methods. Okay, let me get this stuff out of the way. And let me tell you why. Now, you know I love a flipper tab. This flipper tab is super small, and the detent is pretty tight. Pretty strong detent. So the flipper tab, while it works, is a bit uncomfortable to my finger, partially because the knife is so small, it's hard to get a good grip on it for me. Okay, but it does work. Thumb studs, always a fan of. However, it's so small, I got to kind of wrap my fingers around the pocket clip and whatnot. It just doesn't work well for me. So we go to my two least favorite opening methods on the planet. The front flip, and it works amazing. As I've had this for a little while now, I have usually fidgeted with it using the front flipper method, which is a method, if you followed my channel for more than 2 days, you know I think is a silly way to open a knife. And then if you go to reverse flick, it works amazingly as well. So on this knife, I have to use my two least favorite sort of silly and dumb opening methods because it just flat out works perfectly with this small knife. So, good job, Kurt, for giving us options. If it was just a flipper tab, I wouldn't like it. So, yeah, it's good to have options sometimes. Even though for me, I personally just prefer one opening method that works. So, there you have it. All right, so what do you got here? You got 3 7/8 closed. 7 inches overall. 3.06 on the blade length. 2.77 on the cutting edge. So it stops about here, right in front of the logo. 0.011 behind the edge. Blade thickness is 0.148. Weighs in at 3.5 ounces. Really lightweight, really comfortable and nice in the hand. It just works well, other than that opening stuff. But once you get rid of the flipper tab, just accept however it works in your hand. Your hand might work perfectly fine for the flipper tab. And it runs on bearings, of course. Okay? I think it is a super cool knife. I love the shape. Sometimes there's knives I'm just drawn to, like the Frank Fisher Battle. It's a shape that a lot of people don't like, but I have just been drawn to it and I love it. The shape of this knife, I love. Now I need to check out a mini and a standard size because maybe I should not check those out because I'm going to want to buy one. I've done some other Kurt Merriken videos over the years. And I love him. I've met him at shows. He's a super cool, down-to-earth guy. I've talked about that before, so I won't bore you with all those details. Super cool guy, super approachable. I actually got some of the details on this knife from him. I had posted a picture on Instagram. If you're not following me over there, please do. I would appreciate it. And he reached out and said, hey, did you end up with it? And I said, no, it's just a loaner and, all of that. And I said, hey, since I've got you, can you give me some details on some of the materials? Because I don't generally know. Like, you never can know for sure everything. There was no COA. There might have been a COA, but the owner didn't send it to me. So he gave me a little bit of a spiel on it and stuff like that. Now that I'm looking at it, I also notice that there's texturing, hammering on the pivot. Obviously, it's a captured pivot since there's only one spot for the Torx bit. Yeah, this thing is super cool. Kurt's a super cool dude, super active on Facebook, has a Facebook group and all of that. So if you're not familiar with him, please make yourself familiar. If you are familiar, well, lucky for you, because he's a great guy to know. And if you've got a mini or a full size that you would like to send in and loan me so I can do some more videos on them, that would be fantastic, because I got to get my hands on them now. Even though I'm going to try not to buy one because, well, I say that every year at the beginning of the year, but I have an out of the country trip this year. So I want to focus on that and maybe not buy so many knives this year of 2025. But we'll see. That's a whole different video. Come back for that. Thanks everybody for watching. You've got some size comparisons I did at the beginning. Check out my Kurt Merriken playlist up here in the corner. There's only 4 or 5 videos already, but I hope to do more because, well, he's a great guy, makes a great product, and I just love making videos. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a fantastic day.